What's good? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room yet again, always with another one. And it's always another one. You know, sorry about my banner out there, y'all. You know, well, you know, the picture and stuff. But, so, today what we're going to do here, man, we're going to go here. And, yes, we have one from brother Anton Daniels. And the thing of it is, Anton Daniels is receiving a little clapback from a young lady. Let's see, Amani Talks. And the thing of it is, Miss Amani put out a video, it seems like a little while back, things like that. And Anton went to, give his commentary, critique the video, things like that. And, of course, the sister didn't like what, brother Anton had to say, things like that. So we're just gonna, we're gonna go here now and we're gonna put these quarters, nickels, and dimes in, and let's just see what's going on. Make sure you put your, your comments down below, whether brother Anton was right or not, things like that. Hey, let's go.
What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Before I get into this reaction, so we're gonna do this a little bit differently. This woman's name is Amani. I believe it's Amani. I'll leave the links down in the description to their Instagram or their TikTok or whatever. I don't know which one I'm going to leave. I usually only leave one because every single video that I can find a content creator, I always leave a link back to their stuff, but we'll get to that in a minute. This woman now right here is named Amani, right? Now, I did a review video on Amani based off of something that she said on TikTok, I believe, because you guys had sent it to me. You said, Anton, I want you to react to this. And so I said, okay, I'll give my opinion on it. And the video that I reacted to, it was basically her communicating that the standards have been raised based off of a guy that had, she was basically, in a relationship with, and then they wound up breaking up for whatever reason, and so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do before I react to what she said in response to the video is I'm going to play you the previous reaction, and then we're going to come back to this one.
So I recently broke up with my boyfriend, and I didn't think that I was going to share this experience or this story just because it's not that big of a deal and it's kind of private too. But I decided to share it because I felt like the girls really needed to hear about this. So there are two major points I'm going to make, and I'm going to try to keep this very short. So number one, the way that God has carried me throughout this breakup is really nothing short of amazing and unbelievable. Usually after a breakup, I'm a mess. Like, I've been known to cry in the club over a breakup. Like, I'm telling you, days, weeks, and the fact that that has not been my experience this time is only because of God. And I've been really trying to get back to my relationship with him first and foremost, so that he is leading my relationships from now on. Number two is, I feel like a lot of times when we all see these breakup stories, especially coming from the woman's perspective, it's always like this horror story, like, the stuff that she's been through and what he put her through and all the stuff that she put up with. And we all look at her like, girl, why was you in that relationship? Like, why did you stay? But when I tell you guys that that's not my experience at all, like, it just wasn't. My ex was a great guy. Like, even after we broke up, still sending me flowers to my apartment, like just a great guy, but for somebody else.
So we first of all right, let's put together our context clues before we really dig into this. First things first.
Recordings just got better.
Sorry about that. Here we go.
Yeah. Listen, gentlemen, never, ever, under any circumstance, continue to take care of, show some sort of affection, have communication with, and certainly don't send her anything like flowers. Flowers? All right, it's a simp behavior. That's number one.
Now, I definitely agree with that. I don't think you should be in communication with exes and things like that after you break up, because you had a reason to break up. If it's not going to work out, then it's not going to work out in any way, shape, form, or fashion. You should keep it moving on both parties. Only case I think that, of course, as an ex, you need to stay in contact, of course, is when you have children. So
what the French toast is there to think about?
Because, of course, at that point, when you have children with your quote unquote ex, you are tied for life. regardless of how you feel about that, you're tied together for life with this person. So yeah, but I think that's the only time you really should have consistent communication with an ex. Let's keep going.
But two, why do we always insert God into things that ain't got nothing to do with God? This is called our own choice, our own decisions. We doing what we want to do. Listen, if we want to do it within God's way of doing it, then we wouldn't be dating in the first place. I'm just gonna give you the honest to God truth. I don't know what Bible these people is reading. I don't know how they understand what a marriage or what the difference is between the way that God do things and the way that we doing things. But dating, boyfriend, all of that stuff, that's not biblical. That's not scripture. That's not of what it is that he's described, the way that you're supposed to operate when it comes to meeting, getting into, and then ultimately marrying a person that you're supposed to be with. So listen, we got to stop. If we're going to tell our stories, if we're going to have a conversation, then we can't just insert God into every single thing. If you spiritual, cool. I'm with it. I ain't tripping about it. But ultimately, this is our own things. God ain't got nothing to do with half of the stuff that we out here doing. And
hey, now, as a preacher's kid, I'm not perfect, and I'm not saying that, I'm perfect either. I don't follow everything to the letter of my doggone self. But yes, I don't insert the Lord in a lot of things, because if I'm not going strictly by the book, definitely right. It's no need to do that. But, it's crazy to me. And regardless of what, I've noticed a lot of people do that, both men and women do that. And it's like, what are you talking about? That's not how that's supposed to go. But then, you want to pull out the book, and then you go here on the book and it's nowhere in there. And then it's also trying to justify, you're still trying to justify what's going on, but it can't be, because it's not in the damn book. Like, it just, So yeah, that's that's kind of how that goes. We do that as human beings. We do that. All of us do at certain points in life.
In real time. But we definitely got a simp on the prowl. So let's continue.
And we didn't break up because of anything that he did to me, anything that I found out, or anything that I did to him. We literally broke up because just of small things that led me to understand that this was not my husband. And so I needed to make room for my husband by exiting that relationship. But I'm telling you, the way that he treated me within this relationship was so good. He's raised my standard. And you guys know that my standards are already high to begin with. But my ex treated me so well in our relationship that it was like, if the next guy, he's made it harder for the next guy. Because if the next guy isn't coming like my ex or better, then off the rip, you can get to stepping. Like,
do y'all realize that, first of all, the dude was simping? Okay, so what people don't realize about relationships, and again, my background, you know where I'm coming from, you know why I'm qualified to be able to speak on this situation. What people don't realize is that the way that you start off is not the way that you continue when it comes to a relationship, especially.
Listen up, y'all. They're living in our hotels, our schools, and getting
marriage, a person that you take a vow with to be with for the rest of your life. And a lot of these guys are starting off with the speed of an Olympic sprinter. And that's not the way that you sustain or maintain a relationship. That's why I tell people that first of all, you should stop dating, because your impression of what a relationship looks like is skewed. Because that's not realistic for what it is that you're supposed to be experiencing when you're married. Now, I'm not saying that marriage is supposed to be drab, but what I am saying is that the realistic expectations of the ebbs and flows, and you getting to know a person or being able to present yourself within the first year of what a person is really like by them putting themselves their best foot forward versus what it is that you experience as far as enduring through a person. What's your duress language, right? All of these different things. Guys start off and they set these crazy expectations. And that's why dating is so bad, is because you basically talking to a representative of a person, even if it's for an extended period of time. You're talking to the representation of what a person would aspire to be like, but it's not necessarily reflective of how they could sustain. And then she goes on to say, and this is why you got to stop taking advice from women. I'm starting to see this chick everywhere. I can't hate the fact that she popping up everywhere and she getting her bag or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how she monetizing and I don't really care. But this is why you got to stop taking advice from women, fellas, because now she's saying the impression left upon her by the person that she was in a relationship, not a marriage, but a relationship with, has skewed, and then ultimately has raises the bar for what expectations are in a man. But on top of that, the guy was so phenomenal, but she's still not with him. She still broke up with him.
And see, that's the confusing part that we as men have out here. I'm just being honest. You know, I'm just saying, ladies, like that does confuse men when we hear these stories and things like that. And I mean, I get it. You know, everybody has their own life and they have their own reasons, and there's nothing wrong with that. And, you know, just on a fair point, but nah, you know, that does confuse men. It's like, you know, you telling us this was a great guy. You had no problems with him whatsoever. But he just didn't quite have that extra little inkling or that extra thing that you claim that you're looking for. And, you know, we sit here and we try to analyze this things like this and stuff, and it just doesn't add up. You know, it does not add up. But, you know, for whatever reason, things like that do happen. Let's keep going.
So, you know, breakups don't always have to be this, oh, I'm learning a hard lesson, or I went through some traumatic experience. Not every relationship is going to end up in a marriage, and the ones that don't end up in marriage doesn't mean that it has to be messy, or, you know, as long as you're upholding your standards within the relationship, it should be a positive experience. And honestly, my relationship was a positive experience, and I'm telling you, like,
just not positive enough to actually get married. They all say the same thing, bro. They lean into God. They talk about how they raising their standards, and they still don't have the results.
I have nothing bad to say about him, and we're still friends. We still talk and everything, but I just don't feel like the girls hear that often about a relationship that you get out of that has raised your standards. That, like, he's treated me so well, like the next guy's gonna be hard for him, you know? So I just wanted you guys to hear that, because not every breakup is a horror story, and not every breakup is some hard learning lesson. Some breakups are really because you're just maturing and you want different types of relationships, and you just came to understand, like, I don't see myself marrying that person, so let's not waste each other's time. And that's pretty much what this was. But
listen, man, I'm telling y'all keep talking about I'm messing up the game. I ain't even got nothing to do with what the game is at this current time, because it's the simps. It's always the simps that come behind, and women have these wild expectations based off of basically a fling, and they think that this is what relationships or what marriage is supposed to look like, and they have no real examples to give them a realistic perspective, yet everybody has an opinion of what they think that a relationship is supposed to be like going forward, especially with regard to a marriage. Listen, I want to see more marriages. I want to see more families. But more importantly, I want to see people successfully married, right? Because it's a difference between just getting married and then being successfully married, right? I see more women every single day with the same story, right? Now, let me give her a little bit of rope and say that at least, I mean, he is a simp. And why are they still in communication if they're not actually going and trending towards marriage? Because you shouldn't even be opening yourself up to something like that. But at least she didn't destroy his name or something like that.
Hey, shout out to her for not doing that. Real talk. Like, you know, that level of respect, it definitely needs to be spoken about, because this is true. You know, most women would have gotten on there and just totally wrecked shop with this dude's name. Like, seriously. So yeah, definitely shout out to her for not doing that. You know, obviously she does have some level of respect for the gentleman. So, you know, that's cool right there. That's definitely cool.
A lot of these other chicks be doing on TikTok and all of these other platforms. So I'm gonna give her a little bit of rope in that. But realistically, listen, man, the only thing we care about is the results. A lot of these people is running around, and I don't even know how y'all Look, I don't know how y'all talking to women that feel comfortable talking about what it is that they're experiencing in their relationship, and it could be you that they're talking about on these social media platforms. Dog, they gonna jump in. Listen, don't mess up. Don't mess up. You're gonna be going viral. You're gonna be Risa T.
This audiobook on Amazon has made me
Not going Risa Tisa on the internet. Yeah, that kind of makes sense though.
Be on TikTok. Listen, I wouldn't even date a chick that's an influencer. Man, that's a lot. That's a mess. Now, as you can see, guys, I threw no shots at her whatsoever. Specifically, I spoke to the guy's behavior because I understand my audience. I understand that the majority of my audience are people that's looking to improve or find the results. And so I try to give advice based off of my own life experiences, meaning that because I have the results, because I speak to guys every single day, it's important for us to point out, even in videos where we don't necessarily agree with the woman's behavior, or if we do agree with the woman's, or we do disagree with the woman's behavior. I give the context behind why I'm saying what I'm saying, right? And so it was simp behavior behind this guy continuing to send flowers. And then we also know that women pass up good men all the time in order to find guys that's more closely suited to whatever it is that they're looking for, which is one of the reasons why I tell guys to vet based off of where you're going, not where it is that you at, or optics, right? But she had a response, even though we didn't necessarily have smoke for her. She had a response, and I'm gonna play it for you in its entirety right now.
You guys, so someone has sent me this clip of this YouTube creator named Anton Daniels, and he is a woman basher, middle-aged man, bald, overweight. You know how they look on YouTube all day. And he took a piece of my content where I was talking about a breakup and saying that he was a good guy, great guy, good relationship, but he wasn't my husband, so we broke up. And he's trying to critique it, talking about, well, good enough should be enough for a husband. He was so great, but you didn't marry him. This is what I'm talking about with women. You sound pathetic and low IQ, and let me tell you why.
So before we get into the pathetic and low IQ part, chameleon, 100% chameleon. Chameleon vibes through and through, because what she presented to you guys, as far as the sentiment and who she is and all of that, is shining through, because not because we actually offended her, right? But because she took offense to the truth.
So what do you think out there? What do you think out there? Leave a comment down below. What do you think? You know what I'm saying? Whether or not she on comedian status or not. Let's keep going.
Truth is that when they start getting or feeling a certain type of way, they start throwing ad hominem attacks. Listen, Kevin Samuels was right 10 times out of 10. I'm glad that he was one of my best friends. And I got to know him and got to know how his mind worked before he passed away, and even had an opportunity to be able to speak at his funeral. But the reality is that if the shoe fits, wear it. And even though we was talking about the behavior of the guy and the sentiment of women in general, and using her as an example in order to illustrate this, she took offense. And the minute that they don't listen, black men in general, if you don't do what they tell you to do, they are 100% going to throw you under the bus. No ifs, ands, maybes, no exceptions. You will be thrown under the bus. Flat out. You're going to be thrown under the bus. They start throwing shame, insults, guilt, all of this stuff, bald head, whatever it is. Listen, I'm surprised that she didn't call me gay. I'm surprised she didn't hit me with the who hurt you. But let's continue.
Y'all so used to toxicity, negativity, baby mothers, baby fathers. Maybe you didn't grow up with your dad. Maybe your mom was a bad mom, that y'all don't even know what dating really looks like.
We're going to break this down frame by frame. I'm going to go into this even more extensively on After Hours this afternoon. So we're going to do an After Hours special today, all right? But none of this stuff actually hit. None of it speaks to what we talked about in the video. The only thing that matters is how they feel. All of a sudden, my father that was in my life, that raised me in a two-parent married household in the church, right? Mother was one of the most beautiful. Y'all see my mom come on the live streams. Y'all have seen my mother come on the Millionaire Morning Show. Gorgeous, beautiful, sweet-spirited, married, whatever, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Married my high school sweetheart, been married for over 20 years. None of that, listen, they start attacking the person when they can't stand on their argument and when it starts to fall apart. Do y'all really want to be coached by these type of women?
A good man is not husband material. A good man is here, which is the bare minimum for dating, and a husband is here, and a lot of y'all be in the gutter. And
now I would like to know.
So what's the French toast is there to think about?
And I would like to know that level too. Like, since a good man is just the basics or things like that. Okay. But okay, then what's up there? Like above the good man, what's the next level? What's the next step beyond being a good man? Because a good man is a good man all the way around. You know, and this is what I was taught by other men that are stand-up men, decent individuals. They're not out here Pookie and Ray-Raying it up. You know, they actually take care of their families, their communities, their loved ones, their children. So, like, if a good man is not enough anymore, then okay, then what's the next step? What is the next level to it? Like, is it being God, or is it being some supernatural being? Or I mean, I don't know. I really don't know, and I really am asking a question out here, because it's like, how much more better does it get when we also know that we live on a planet to where nothing is ever going to be perfect out here? Nothing's ever going to be perfect. So I mean, you know.
You can't make this shit up.
And this is where women are accountable too, because stop meeting men in the gutter, giving him your all, letting him do whatever he wants with you, and then a year later you're on the internet crying to us about what he did. I don't want to hear it, because you met that man in the gutter. Nobody made you. A good man is the bare minimum. And y'all also don't know what dating really is or what it looks like, because dating somebody is meeting them and learning about them. So in the process of dating them, if you learn, okay, our morals don't match up, our lifestyles are different, maybe I'm uncovering things I don't like about you. Okay.
That's what used to happen in communities all those years ago when we had communities as black people. You know that old thing we threw away as a culture of black folks. You know, we just tossed it out to the damn trash. You know, they used to call it community. I mean, like, didn't they? I thought that's what they used to call. I don't know. You know, I could be wrong. But you know, when fathers and things like that were in the homes, and they used to actually vet the men that their daughters, you know, brought home, or vetted a young man for his daughter that, you know, to marry. They knew that this young man was going to be a great decent man one day. They knew the man's family because they were all in the community together. Most likely, most times, most of the dynamics of the girl and the boy were raised together in set community, which also, you know, kept things in line, kept the spark going by them also being raised together. Both of them actually knew each other technically from childhood up to adulthood. So that made the connection even more stronger already off top. That's how it used to go. Now, you know, of course, what we're doing out here now, we're trying to, you know, find our own way, and we want to pick our own things and do our own things. But it's come to a point to where I don't know if we're realizing this, due to the fact that we no longer have what would be considered technically arranged marriages and things like that, are kind of putting people in a certain proximity to each other to kind of, you know, the families promoting them to actually be together, which they knew that it would make a good team because, you know, they've been raised a certain type of way. Now that we don't have that anymore, and we're out here just, you know, doing what we want to do, and the rates of marriages are dying, the birth rates are completely obsolete, you know, be it either, you know, by just not wanting children anymore or deleting them, you know, let's just keep that honest. So yeah, I mean, but what is a actual, what's above being a good man? You know, that's something that, you know, I'm definitely curious to find out what is above being a good man. What's the next step to that?
Okay, let's exit the relationship. But y'all so used to jumping into things and then having a baby and no real commitment, and then
it is that easy to
toxic mess that y'all don't even really know what dating is. And that's what my whole platform is about. And that's why I felt the need to respond to that. My whole platform is about advancing the dating pool for Black women and letting Black women know that good enough is not actually good enough. Good is the bare minimum, like I said. That is the least that a man could do, is be good to you while you're dating. Duh. You don't want to date somebody that's not nice to you, that doesn't treat you well while you're dating. A lot of y'all, I'm not going to say Black men.
No, say it. You said what you was going to say. It came out. It came out. You didn't cut it out of the video. It came out. A lot of y'all Black men, they don't like y'all. They want each other. Ain't that what they say to us?
I'm trying not to say Black men, but a lot of y'all men are way below standard. So y'all want women to meet y'all where y'all are, way below in the gutter. Women, stop meeting below average men and thinking that they're boyfriend material, because they're not. And every guy that you date that's a good guy is not going to be your husband. Learn to vet, get some discernment about you, and then maybe half of our marriages would be falling apart. So that.
Now, I also want to know, how long should the vetting process be? Since we don't have our families and fathers and things like that, and mothers vetting, women for their sons, and fathers vetting, men for their daughters. Since we don't have that anymore, how long should the vetting process take nowadays? How long does it actually have to go? A few months, 6 year, 2 years? Like when does the vetting process actually adds up to the conclusion that this person will make a good husband or a wife, and then we move on with fucking life? I don't know, because it seems like it's a hell of a whole lot of vetting going on, but not a lot of marriages out here. It's just
God. You can't make this shit up.
How long should it be?
That's what I have to say to that. And by the way, when you use someone's content to talk about it, you should be tagging them. You know me, Amani Talks. You were on my TikTok to find that video. You said, did you see me all the time? So you know exactly who I am. Tag me next time, like I'm tagging you.
So again, on a YouTube video, if you look in the description of any of the most recent or even older ones in which I've done a reaction video to somebody, I always give credit, regardless of what I say to the person. So she just in her emotions, y'all. Y'all got to remove it. But the reality is this: you shouldn't be dating. A. B. Women should not be even choosing husbands in the first place. Dating is just a gateway for you to put yourself in a position to get fucked on or get emotionally connected to people who you never should have been associated with in the first place. And if we had actual understanding of what we were supposed to be doing, this is why you can't take dating advice from women. Listen, she teaching y'all how to improve the dating pool when she don't even have the results herself. That's just the reality. Look, I don't have to run down my accolades. I don't have to run down my credit and all of this other stuff. Y'all know who I am. It just is what it is. We're not going to get into our emotions. We're not going to talk about none of that. We're not tripping. My chick is right there in the other room, and she probably vacuuming or something. Who knows? The reality is this. They get emotional. They reveal who they are. Chameleon love is real. Could y'all imagine if you ever got into a disagreement with this type of woman, what would happen? Not only would she cuss you the fuck out and then throw a bunch of ad hominem attacks, but she also might talk about you on TikTok, just like she was talking about her past relationship. And if you pissed her off too much, she might say your name. Listen, you bark.
So,
You'll thank me in the morning.
You ain't right, man.
Oh, I'm right. You'll see.
Hey. It's crazy out here, but it's real though. Some women will, go ahead on and set your info out there if you piss them off the wrong way. And that's just reality, man. Sad but true. But I think Brother Anton has some great points and things like that. And I really don't think he was just out the way wrong. He didn't come after her. Mainly, talking about the dude, which, I definitely understand. We as men, we do need to get a lot of these men in line out here. They be doing way too much for no reason, especially in the 21st century. We don't even have the same caliber of chick that we're dealing with out here. It just don't even work that way no more. And it's sad though, but hey, though, it is what it is though, man. Hey, if you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell, that you'll be notified whenever I decide to post things. You know what? Like I always say,
And that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.
We'll talk about that some other time.
No, I want to talk about it now. See, another reason why
I said we'll talk about that some other time.
you don't tell me what I can talk about. You don't tell me what I can talk about in my own house.
Don't you point your finger at my nose, Fred Sanford.
I'll point my finger at your nose and I'll point my foot somewhere else.
You can act like a man. What's the matter with you?